ويخطوا في معسكر. إذا كده جبنا بوليس، خدنا بوليس يا مسؤولين وخدنا فيه بوليسات كتير، ده عشان من يعتقلوا زول ولا يردوا له النقطة بتاع البوليس ولا مباشرة ما يسجل. ده نحن عملناه زي ده نحن عملناه عشان نحن دايرين سكيورتي بيكون كويس يعني في منطقة، يعني حمولة كان ده جيش ولا ده بوليس زي قبل زميلي قال هنا أن هنا يبقى وزارة الدفاع وهنا وزارة الداخلية في ولايات، ده حقيقة. لكن ده نحن بنشوفه إنه ده خدمة وطنية، ده خدمة وطنية. يعني زي نحن في ستر الإكواتوريا مع كلام بتاع هورد أوت جروبس، إحنا لازم نساعده في سماست إنه نحن لازم نعمل زي ده عشان أتليست يوفر الأمن للمواطنين بتاعنا. أنا بشوف إنه نحن في ولاية نحن عندنا علاقات إلا يكون ما معروفة، لكن أنا زي أنا في ستر الإكواتوريا أنا عندي علاقة مع كل الوحدات الأمنية في تحت ستر الإكواتوريا. لأن أنا أعرف مهام بتوعهم شنو يعني هنا ده بتوعهم شنو. ده اللي حصل بالظبط. يعني زي قبل في زميلي قال هنا بتاع وحدة لما حصل مشكلة في المغرب، ما أنا انطلقت هناك صباح رسلنا بوليس ناس فرنسي ما بقدر إلا أنا اتحركت ما قوة تبدأ هنا مسنا سنهدي الأمور والإداري يعني الشيف ادمنستريتور بتاع بيبور كان ماشي معي ونحن مشينا عشان نحتوي على المشكلة اللي كان موجود في مغرب. يعني لو ما أساكر تنا بتاع الجيش نحن ما بقدر عشان نهدي الأمور هنا، لأنه مشينا لسه مشاكل لسه ماشي. نحن بدنا نوري للسيدة وزيرة إنه نحن معاكم، نحن بنتعاون معك، أنت أدينا حاجاتنا فعلا صح. تقريبا كلمت في حاجات كتير أنت أديتنا، وده نحن بنشكرك فيه شديد لأنه أنت شكرتنا وده جميل بالنسبة لنا نحن. يعني زي نحن حصل في ولاية يعني نحن عملنا تدريب يعني ناشية اللي هو تنشيطية، نحن عملنا أكثر من 1000 عسكري نحن عملناه، لكن عشان توزع هو مشكلة لأنه سلاح مو موجود في ايدينا، وده أجا قبل ما ذكروا هنا ما في سلاح. بوليس قاعدين ساكت سلاح ما في. يعني يوم 30 بيته كان قروش فيه يمشي ياخذ قروش وواحد يمشي يبقى في البيت. فشكرا جزيلا.
Governor of Eastern Equatoria رفع يده ولا أنت خلاص خليت؟
خلينا نتكلم كمان. While Your Excellency, the First Vice President, I would like to join my colleagues to thank the Minister of Interior for a remarkable report. And I think this forum, the H forum, is going to be good. It's going to produce a very good recommendation and resolution. Because also in the speech with the President, he also gave us our rights. He thanked the states, the governors and the chief administrators for what they are doing to maintain security and also delivering the service to our people. And also the minister the same acknowledged what the states are doing. Unlike the previous governors' reports where the governors or the administrators were not recognized for what they are doing. Having said that, my colleagues have stated most of the things, but let me just say three. One, I would like to say the Minister of Interior on the issue of interference, and also any other people that will come tomorrow and say something. Let us not generalize. This interference could be, but it may not be the whole states. It could be some states, some individuals, etc. Some of us in our own state, we believe we are doing the right thing, and we are working together with our commissioners of police. I am not denying that this interference may not be there. Definitely, as we are dealing with human beings, definitely this kind of things can happen. The second thing is, Honorable Minister mentioned Eastern Equatoria and Central Equatoria that are the political security threats. I hope that she and other security organs, they have a plan on how to support the two states to meet this political threat that they mentioned, which we may not be able to make detail here. Let us hope that there is that plan, and so that we work together and we are supported to face that political threat. The third is another challenges that I wanted the minister to know, and because we are on the ground, we are seeing it. One of the challenges is deployment of senior officials, senior generals in one small area. You will find major generals in one state assigned in the same place, in the county major generals, while they don't even have the forces, not even a platoon. This is another source of corruption, because these big generals, they depend on these boss names, and they will never disclose the real parade or the forces because they depend on it. Why don't we, and we continue promoting every day. Now we have more senior officers than the forces themselves. So everybody is a general. So this is another challenge. And the few ones that is available, they put them as their bodyguards. And so nobody is to deliver the services that required. I would not like to say about the issue of the body because it's already the Governor Jadala has mentioned. The issue of the traffic police. They said if you go around outside there, Honorable Minister of Interior, that the people who are in the traffic police, they are all relatives of people who are the big people there in Nigeria. Because everybody goes there. If the forces that you see the traffic police in Juba is not here, and it can be enough to deploy them in the state. Because every 5 minutes, 10 or meters, you will find the police. 5 to 10, 15 in one place. There are so many. And we don't have the police there in the state and the counties. And the same thing with all organized forces. Including, I've seen the Minister of and wildlife and tourism here. Let us know how many are the forces of wildlife and tourism here in Juba, and if the rest are at the state level, why there is not even one single wildlife. And it will continue like that. So let us transfer the forces to where they are really needed. Thank you.
شكرا نائب الأول رئيس الجمهورية. الزول اللي بتكلم معاك ده career police officer, and maybe Honorable Minister might be very lucky to get a career police officer appointed governor of a state. She mentioned so many things, and I acknowledge them. Only one, she could not reach that one. What we are doing here is not the real police work. It is higher than the police, the Kinma police. Because me, I worked so many areas in the old Sudan before I joined the movement in 1987. I graduated in the police college in 1980, and I joined the police in 1977. So I work in Port Sudan, in so many departments of the police. I work in the Mazin, even the traffic which we just talked about. I was a traffic police officer in the Mazin. And I work in Malakal for 3 years. So the work we did there, when I compare the work of the police, which we are now doing here, it is Chikil police, my police. So I would want to advise you, Honorable Minister, you have outlined so many facts, and I thank you for that. But you left out one thing. Your ministry is inflated by the army. People are transferring many officers from the army to the police. The work of the police does not even the work of the army. The police, mind you, Allah, kulkulu ma jesh, jibujesh, rubumia, kumsumia, jibule ministry kidak. This has spoiled the work of the police. During the time when we were at the movement, Anhenu Gina Anakundu captain of the police, and I joined the movement. I was not just given the force to command. I was taken to military basic training for at least 1 year. I had to become the really army officer, to command the army. Our brothers are just transferred from the army, occupying many high positions, like the governor of Central Equatorial mentioned. He occupied a very big position, not knowing even Patabalak that Umabar. Patabalak, Mabar. You cannot even prosecuting an accused in front of the judge, you could not. So please talk to the leadership of our country to stop transferring the redundant people in the other department to your department. Another issue, there are also promotions being done by those who are not commanding the police. Like me, as a governor, I just put the names of so many my relatives and friends, in-laws, and then take to the presidency, and then the promotion is approved. This is also a very bad system. The promotion is always done through, when I'm commanding, I know who is capable. When he is promoted, he can do the work very successfully. So please, I beg you to if you just talk to our leadership, so that the transfer of other units, other organized units to the police, you just stop that one. See, this is what I want to tell you. Another thing also I want to add into your knowledge, the investigators. The investigators are really suffering, because they are very few and they are suffering, because they don't have judges, they don't have Ukinanyaba. And Ukinanyaba, our time, I was a crime officer in Malakal. Our time, it was a resident magistrate, but not the Ukinanyaba, Attorney General. Attorney General defends the government, but not the accused. Resident magistrate used to see cases early morning. Cases to be taken to the judge are there. Cases to be bank court are there. But now, such thing is not there. So this is what you can also try to correct this, so that you have judges who will help the police investigators, and also intensive training or rehearsal training to those who are interested to learn the police work. With this, I thank you, Your Excellency, the First Vice President and Madam Wazira Dakhliya. I will help you. If you want me, let me be your advisor. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Your Excellency. First of all, I would like to appreciate Honorable Minister of Interior for the good presentation. I think most of the point has been said by my colleague governors and chief administrators, but the only one thing that I want to highlight on is that the fact must be said. The challenges that we have at the state level is not only a security concern whereby we should blame the Minister of Interior or Minister of Defense or our police commissioner or commanders. This issue, I think, is connected to the economic crisis that our country is facing. For example, if we want to implement what General Ring suggested, where are you going to find the resources to feed those soldiers that you are going to deploy them from different areas? The only solution as per now is to encourage local recruitment of the police and even as PDF. Because bringing someone from different state to another state, it will turn to be a criminal because you don't have the food allowances for them. This is one of the issues. But also challenges that we found is the fact that most of the police officers and the SSPDF personnel that we have at the state and administrative areas, they are all from the same area, which make it very difficult for them sometimes to implement the orders. I remember some weeks ago, there was an incident whereby the civilians were fighting among themselves because of the issue of the cattle raiding. And we have sent some forces. Number one, most of them has been identified by those criminals, and then they start pointing on them. If you did anything, it will come to your family. Number two, they don't even have ammunitions to defend themselves. At the end of the day, they will run away. And if they run away and the peace is not restored, the governor or chief administrator is going to be blamed on this. But what we understood most of the time is that the army and the police are solely responsibility of the national government. And we appreciate the word of the Honorable Minister, but this appreciation is actually heavy on us, it's heavy on our shoulders, because we are diverting the resources that was meant for the service delivery to security. We're supposed to work hard to make sure that the national government cater for the army and for the police. Lastly, if we want to have a professional police, especially in Mutaharin, let us focus on the deployment of the judges plus Mutaharin and professional. Like we should not encourage, and police and putting in Monatin, you do not for me. You do, for example, 7 professional police and Baru Yabu Mutaharin. But now our development partners can cover for them. Lower police wide can be paid $200. You can bring them from anywhere, and they will help in that. And I think Central Equatoria is one of the a good example of us. Maybe we can get more professional police to go and help us in other states. Now, in the Fulaya, Marat Miner, what is all wide at Hari? And this is a very big challenge. For Luguna and Jibu, we will not be able to support them. Now, even the commissioners, the police, and Asia Ali and Jibu, Marat Tani, their feeding allowances is on us as governors. So, Jibu Marakal, Lebibor, Umaindo Alina, Umaindo Gurush, Guru Boko Sita Shur, and Umaindo Ade. we are the one catering for their feeding, leave alone other essential services. So this is something that needs to be looked at. I also propose that there are some hotspot states. في ولايات عندهم مشاكل أمنية كتير. الولايات دي مفترض يكون عندهم special consideration. There's supposed to be a security budget allocated for them. عشان يقدر يحارب المشاكل الموجودة. لأن without resources, أجل قاعدين يكلموا ده كله. It's just wasting of time. Unless we have to allocate resources for law enforcement agencies to make sure that they do their work efficiently. Thank you very much. My name is Golan, the Chief Administrator of the board.
My name is Zachary Joseph Garang, the Deputy Governor of Western Bangladesh State. I would like to apologize for not attending the first session because I was still involved at the time. This is just my coming. I have 3 points I want to say of me. واحد نمرة واحد. أول حاجة أشكر الوزيرة للبرزنتيشن اللي هي قدمته هنا والدور الكبير اللي قاعد يلعب الوزارة الداخلية للتعاون مع الولايات خاصة اليونيفورمز والعربات قبل كده جانا عدد بسيط من العرب. المشكلة بتاعتي انه نمبر واحد هو Western Bangladesh is very vast area. For instance راجع كاونتي. راجع لما تقوم من الحدود بتاعت واو لحد ما تصل الحدود بتاعت دارفور ده ما يقارب ال 300 ميل. ال 300 ميل ده كله فيه عربية واحد بتاعت بوليس. والعربية واحدة ده ليه؟ العربية الواحدة ده عشان التوزيع. نحن واو ده تاني مدينة في جنوب السودان من حيث المساحة ومن حيث السكان بعد جوبا. لكن لما يجي التوزيع بتاع العربات بدونا نفس العدد بتاع العربات اللي بدونا كل الولايات. بعدين احنا هو بيكون زي ظلم كده بالنسبة لنا لأنه نحن مساحة كبيرة وسكان كتار وبالتالي بنعاني. فده واحد من المشاكل الموجود في الولاية انه lack of mobility بتاع البوليس. نمبر 2 ده الموضوع بتاع الأسلحة. رايفل جانز بالنسبة للبوليس ما موجود. عدد بسيط، عدد بتاع القوات ما عندهم سلاح. ونحن عندنا أسلحة شغالة عندنا في ولاية في 2012 وقت 2012 2013 بعد that time I was deputy governor also. في أسلحة شغالة ودوا لولايات ثانية ولحد هسه ما جاوا. فنحن دايرين رجاء انه الاسلحه دي يرجعوا لنا للبوليس بتاعنا. لانه ده بيساعدنا في الشغل. لما ترسل البوليس ميشن ويمشي بدون سلاح ما حيمشي يودي الشغل بتاعه اللي انت رسلته. نمرة 3 هو عندنا بعض المناطق هناك هو فيه قوات بتاع الاي او موجودين فيه. احيانا في زول بيرتكب جريمه في المدينه وبيمشي هناك وبيقعد والبوليس ما بيقدر يصلوا هناك. لأن في قوات مسلحة موجودين هناك ما بيسمحوا للبوليس يصل فيه. المجرم بيدس هناك. عندنا 2 كيسز هسه. إذا فريق هم قتلوا راس يعني قريبا واحد يمكن يكون قريب 200 سنة والثاني برضه 2 كيسز دول لحد هسه ما تحصل المجرمين. لكن بشكل عام في تعاون موجود بيناتنا مع القوات الاثنين ذاتهم عندنا تعاون. لكن في 2 كيسز دول هم ما يتعاونوا فيه لحد هسه. فده برضه واحد من المشاكل اللي احنا قاعد نعاني منه في الولايه. الموضوع الاخير ده الموضوع بتاع السجن. السجن ده ممكن في فتره بعيده خمسينات الكباسيتي بتاعه يكون 200 نفر. لكن هسه عندنا اكثر من 1000 مسجونين في نفس السجن ده. وواحد من الاسباب طبعا في ولايات ما فيها سجون، ولايات بتاعت بحر الرزال الكبرى ما فيها سجون، وفي جرائم في ناس عندهم جرائم كبيره قتل وغيره. ده اللي بيشيلهم بيحولوهم بيجوا سجن واو. والبقى في ضيق في السجن وده واحد من من المسائل اللي احنا قاعد نعاني منها. كده يكون ده 4 أشياء أنا حبيت أتكلم فيه. شكرا جزيلا.
شكرا Deputy Governor. أنا أفتكر behind you there's somebody else. لا على يدك يمين.
Thank you. Honorable Simon Osdil, the Minister of Local Government and Law Enforcement, Jonglei State. Your Excellency, thank you for the chance. Some of my question has been exhausted by my colleague and my governors. Honorable Minister of Interior, I believe you have really exhausted and you have a good representation for our interior. We as ministers of local government and law enforcement in the state, we don't interfere, as you put it, or any report has been given to you, but the commissioners of police, which you really transferred to the state, working with the ministers of the local government parallelly. They work parallelly with some of the ministers. There is a parallel. When they work parallelly with the ministers, I believe the governors have to interfere. I think that is the one point. When we want to talk about the tranquility of the state or the government, we have a lacking of the roads. We will not manage our security, or we have to work hard on the roads. Like Jonglei State, we are nearer to Central Equatoria. The whole 8 counties, they are not reachable. Even communication is not there. When we are talking about police, we have a huge of police as have been put by my governor, but they are not in the states, and they are not in the counties. In reality, there are vulnerable people, or the citizens, they are not being protected. They are not at all. And the issue only, even though we have a few cars which was being transferred last year, but some of them they are grounded, they are not moving because they don't have roads to reach where they are supposed to help the vulnerable people, like our state. We have an issue of, well, you know that the cattle raiding and the child abduction. And even though some people can reach, but there's no road actually. That is the only hindrance, the security in the states. That's the only point I can really hard on, and let us work out on how we can really reach our vulnerable people in the counties. Thank you so much.
It's behind the lady.
Your Excellency, it seems we are going out of the agenda. You have allowed us to present our issues. We are commenting the report of the minister. If we start elaborating our problems, what about our presentation tomorrow? What are we going to say? Thank you.
Yeah, you tell your ministers. Because they're the ones raising their hands and they're the ones dealing with the police. Okay, now we have over 10, 17, yes, I said over. So let us answer them. طيب وزير الداخلية.
Thank you, Your Excellency. There are actually 18 comments and questions. The first question that came was about immigration and citizenship, and those who are the communities around our borders, people having, acquiring South Sudanese citizenship when they are not South Sudanese. Of course, we have our rules and regulations on how for you to apply with the immigration. Usually what we do with the communities along the borders is just not enough for you to bring your two witnesses, but sometimes we also ask your chief, your local chief. So we add more security questions and features for those communities. But of course, it's very difficult for you to say that you can always have a 100% accuracy and so on. This is one. But number two, our law allows for naturalization as well. So you can have dual citizenship. So somebody who is from a neighboring country and who has been living in our country and has fulfilled the criteria to be naturalized can also be naturalized. So this also happens with us. So, but I cannot tell you that we have a full 100% kind of screening. But there are ways of actually finding out as well. Now, we have like serial numbers. For when you're registered as a citizen, your serial number is a unique number. And since it is a unique number, because it is machine readable, it can be cross-checked. If, for example, you are also a citizen in a place like Uganda, it can pop up if somebody make a point of investigating. So it's not difficult to address. It only needs some cooperation and coordination with our neighbors. Then you talked about the issue of statelessness. Actually the majority of our communities are at risk of becoming statelessness or be a stateless person. Because when you don't have IDs, if you don't have IDs, it means you're not registered. If you're not registered, you don't necessarily count. You're not registered anywhere. So you can be born, you can grow up, you can die, and it would be as if you have never existed, and so on. So now we're working on so what we do now, we have a registration for citizenship, and this is from the age of 18 upwards. But children under 18, they become part of households. So if they want to acquire passports, you only proof of citizenship through parents. This is what we have. But we are in the process of developing a national civil registry. Now, as we speak, we have started the plan, we put the strategy together, and the civil registry would be registration of birth, death, marriage, and any other registration. So as soon as you're born, you will immediately become part of a data, national data. This is the work of the Ministry of Interior. We are informed by the Ministry of Health if a child is born, or a birth attendant in the village if a child is born. But this process we're just beginning, and it's a very costly process. We have a budget for it. It will take about 5 years, and the budget is over 800 million for us actually to complete this. We're getting some support from partners, especially organizations such as United Nations Population Fund and others, and so on. It is not only us, the continent is facing some of these challenges. So it's a very, very important question, and it relates to statelessness. And for you to ensure that you don't become stateless, it's important to have this civil registry. Even if you're a refugee in this country, if a child is born a refugee, must be given a certificate so that they don't face the issue of statelessness in case they go back to their country one day, one time when things get better, and so on. So it's a critical. I just was in Geneva last November, last October, this October gone, with the United Nations UNHCR. And the discussion that we went for is the issue of the statelessness. And so we have set out our plans. The passports for East African community, you don't apply for it anywhere. Actually, what is supposed to happen is that our passport is to be changed to the East African community passport. How is it going to work? Already, we have signed to it. Because we signed the charter, we accept it to be integrated, and we accept it. This is one of the integration articles. The issuance or the use of the East African community passport. Now it is being used in most East African region countries. So how it's supposed to work is that we produce our own passport. It will be the cover of the passport. There are certain rules that we will follow. There are only 3 types of passports. It is going to replace our national passport, but it will be written up there like East African community. But down it will be South Sudan. So the same passport is South Sudan passport and it's East African passport, and so on. So you don't go look for it elsewhere. We are actually in the process here to do that. We are falling behind the other countries. It is already in use in Kenya, in Tanzania, Burundi, and all these other regional countries. So this is also an important question. John was talking about the issues of intercommunal violence, and especially in his county, Tony. It's not only Tony, it is actually most of Warab, Lakes, Unity, you go as far as Jongule, and so on. This, like I said earlier, is one of our huge challenges. It's a very big challenge. And in order to address this challenge, it requires a policy direction. It's not just for the Ministry of Interior or the Ministry of Defense or us in the security sector agencies to decide and say this is how we're going to tackle it. It is going to be tackled in so many ways because it is also multifaceted as an issue. So, and at this juncture, maybe I should announce that after this conference, there will be a conference, and you will all get invitations, especially the governors, national ministers, and other relevant people here, a conference on security sector reforms and transformation, which will happen immediately after this conference. And in this conference, we will be presenting, as the Strategic Defense and Security Review Board, we will be presenting the reform agenda for the security sector. One of the reform agenda is really looking at the police, and this will answer a number of questions that came from the governors. Looking at the current police that we have. Is this police capable of responding to these challenges, especially intercommunal conflicts? And the answer is no. The answer, based on the baseline assessment that was done, is no. And therefore, there are recommendations. And I will leave them for the validation conference for the security sector for us to discuss together with the governors, the ministers of local government, civil society, and all the stakeholders to really see what is required for us to really come to terms with this issue of intercommunal violence. There was a question that came from Honorable Chol talking about a huge police force that does not exist in reality, but exists in papers. This question came from many people. It's a challenge that we have, and this challenge also can only be addressed through security sector reforms and transformation. And this is one of the things that we have been planning is the biometric registration. This is one. Number two, there is a recognition now that they said there's an aging police force. You know the challenge that we have, that we don't have an exit strategy. You know, when somebody is removed from deployment, we just put them to something called reserve list. This one doesn't address, because they're still on the payroll, number one. They also still appear they still appear on the active list. So when somebody comes and asks for a parade, you're given a parade, but nobody tells you that this one is on a reserve list and this one is active list and is deployed. It's very difficult to do that. So we have to address so we have to address the issue of pension. It's also just not for us in the security sector to address that. It requires also a certain approach. But you will find that when we also discuss the reforms, it will be discussed there as a strategy. And this question came also from the governor of Jonglei State, the youth force, the economic hardship. Now, he talked about the problems and how they're actually supporting in the state. You see, in the Sudan, there used to be something called the Shukla. So, in whatever taxation you pay or whatever you pay for, if you're going to get a passport, there is something there, a small portion that goes for Damagat.